First Contact and Betrayal. The Nexari warship emerged from hyperspace like a predator surfacing from dark waters. Its crystalline hull caught Earth's sunlight, fragmenting it into prismatic patterns across its surface. In the UN Space Command Center in Geneva, Admiral Sarah Chen watched the incoming transmission with carefully measured skepticism. This wasn't humanity's first contact with alien life, but it was perhaps the most significant. They're requesting permission to establish diplomatic channels, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Their language patterns match what we decoded from their probe last month. Admiral Chen nodded, her silver-streaked hair catching the light from the command center's displays. Patch them through to the secure channel. Let's hear what the Nexari Federation has to say for themselves. The alien that appeared on the main screen was eerily beautiful, humanoid but clearly alien, with iridescent scales that shifted colors like oil on water. Its eyes were compound, like those of an insect, but somehow managed to convey intelligence and curiosity. Greetings, people of Earth, the translation matrix converted the musical tones into English. I am Ambassador ZYX Tal of the Nexari Federation. We come seeking peaceful exchange between our civilizations. That was 6 months ago. Now, Admiral Chen stood in the smoking ruins of the Singapore space elevator, watching the night sky burn with the debris of human orbital stations. The Nexari's true nature had finally revealed itself, and humanity was paying the price for their trust. Status report, she demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. Colonel Wei limped forward, his uniform stained with blood and ash. They hit us simultaneously across all major space installations. New Delhi, Kilimanjaro, Atacama, all the space elevators are down. Orbital defense grid is at 15% capacity. We've lost contact with the lunar colonies. Chen's jaw tightened. The Nexari's betrayal had been perfectly orchestrated. For months, they had shared peaceful technology, established trade routes, and mapped human infrastructure, all while planning this devastating first strike. But what the Nexari couldn't understand, was that humanity had survived worse. Much worse. And they had learned from every near-extinction event in their history. Get me a secure line to Protocol 0, Chen ordered, using her neural implant to access classified frequencies. Authorization Chen Alpha 709. Wei's eyes widened. Protocol 0. But that's Dash. Our insurance policy, Chen finished. Something we started building the day we first detected alien signals. Because humanity learned long ago, hope for the best, plan for the worst. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, in hardened bunkers spanning continents, massive factories began to power up. Quantum computers that had been running simulations for years shifted to combat protocols. And in secure facilities around the globe, the products of humanity's paranoia, technologies developed in secret, weapons that defied conventional physics, began to wake. The Nexari had chosen war, believing they understood human capabilities based on what humanity had shown them. Their fatal mistake was assuming they had seen everything. They hadn't even seen the beginning. In her command center, now relocated to the underground facility beneath Mount Cheyenne, Admiral Chen watched as humanity's real technological capabilities came online. The Nexari thought they had caught humanity unprepared. Instead, they had triggered the largest military mobilization in human history. Send this message to the Nexari High Command, Chen ordered, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's resolve. You chose war without understanding who you were fighting. You saw our cities, our trade, our apparent weapons. But you never saw our history. You never saw what we became after surviving our own wars, our own near-extinctions. You never saw what we hid, because we learned millennia ago that the universe is rarely kind to the unprepared. She paused, allowing herself a grim smile. You chose war. Now we'll show you how humanity fights when we stop holding back. As the message was transmitted, the first wave of humanity's hidden defenses activated. Quantum-entangled weapons platforms materialized from seemingly empty space. Drone swarms, powered by artificial intelligence that had been carefully kept secret, emerged from underground bases. And in laboratories around the world, scientists began implementing technologies that would redefine the very nature of warfare. The Nexari had started this war believing they were the teachers. They were about to become the students, and humanity's lesson plan would be written in fire across the stars. The silent response. The Nexari celebration lasted 3 standard cycles. Their victory broadcasts filled every frequency, grand declarations of conquest echoing across occupied space. Supreme Commander Vexthor stood aboard his flagship, the Crystal Dominion, watching Earth through the ship's quantum viewport. The planet looked vulnerable, its orbital defenses in ruins, its space elevators reduced to debris fields. Their resistance has crumbled, his executive officer, Raltek, reported with evident satisfaction. Our initial strike exceeded all projections. Surviving human military forces have retreated to underground facilities. As predicted, they're hiding like prey animals. Vexthor's scales shifted to a cautionary amber. And that doesn't concern you? A species that reached the stars, suddenly choosing to hide. They're broken, Supreme Commander. Our intelligence suggests they're marshalling their remaining forces for a desperate last stand. Classic behavior for a defeated species. But something didn't feel right. The Nexari had conquered 17 civilizations in their expansion across the galaxy. None had reacted quite like this. Most fought to the last ship, dying gloriously in space battles that followed predictable military doctrine. The humans had barely fought at all. They had retreated with an almost calculated precision, abandoning positions that cost the Nexari nothing to take. In her underground command center, Admiral Chen watched the Nexari celebrations with cold amusement. Holographic displays showed their fleet movements, their landing parties, their methodical occupation of seemingly strategic positions. Every move they made was being recorded, analyzed, and fed into humanity's quantum battle computers. They're following exactly the pattern we predicted, Dr. Yuki Tanaka reported, her augmented eyes scanning through streams of data. Their military doctrine is remarkably inflexible. They've used the same conquest protocol for at least 3 centuries. Chen nodded. And that's why they'll lose. They think we're beaten because we're acting like their previous conquests. They have no context for what humanity does when we stop playing by anyone else's rules. Around the world, deep beneath the surface, humanity's true response was taking shape. The public face of human technology, the space elevators, the orbital stations, the conventional weapons, had been a carefully crafted facade. The real work had always been underground. In the Urals, quantum forges began producing metamaterials that bent light and gravity alike. Beneath the Sahara, vast fields of zero-point energy collectors powered artificial intelligence systems that had been learning warfare since they first came online. And in the Mariana Trench, something stirred in the darkness, a weapons platform that defied conventional physics. Project Prometheus status? Chen asked, connecting to the secure quantum network. Phase 1 complete, Colonel Wei reported from his station. The Nexari have taken every piece of bait we left for them. Their fleet deployments are exactly where we need them to be. The retreating human forces had left behind caches of apparently advanced technology, carefully crafted lures that the Nexari eagerly collected and studied. Each piece was a Trojan horse, carrying quantum-encrypted programs that were already infiltrating Nexari systems. In orbit, Vexthor's unease grew. His science teams reported strange energy readings from Earth's surface, patterns that didn't match any known human technology. But every time they attempted to investigate, the readings disappeared. Supreme Commander, Raltek interrupted his thoughts. We're detecting unusual seismic activity across multiple continents. Natural phenomena? Negative. The patterns are too regular, too synchronized. But our scans can't penetrate beyond a certain depth. It's as if, As if the humans have found a way to block our sensors. They hadn't found a way. They'd had it all along, carefully hidden beneath layers of more primitive technology. The Nexari were about to learn why humanity had survived countless extinction-level events on their harsh homeworld. In her command center, Admiral Chen received the final confirmation she'd been waiting for. Every piece was in position. Every system was primed. The Nexari still celebrated their victory, unaware that they had never been fighting humanity's real military. "Send the signal," she ordered. "Let's show them what humanity can really do." Across the planet, underground facilities hummed with power. Quantum computers spun up to full capacity. And in every Nexari system, sleeper programs awakened, ready to turn their own technology against them. The humans hadn't been hiding in fear. They had been preparing to teach the galaxy a lesson about the danger of underestimating humanity's capacity for innovation. The real war was about to begin, and the Nexari were about to learn why every human child learned the phrase, "Necessity is the mother of invention." Operation Checkmate. The first sign that something was wrong came when the Nexari fleet lost quantum communications with their homeworld. Supreme Commander Vexthor was midway through his daily victory address when every screen in his command center went dark. In the sudden silence, his scales shifted to a dangerous red. "Restore communications," he barked, but his technical officers were already frantically working their crystalline control interfaces. "Impossible, Supreme Commander," his chief technician reported, compound eyes widening in alarm. "Something's corrupted our quantum network. The encryption protocols they're rewriting themselves." Before Vexthor could respond, Earth moved. Not the planet itself, but something beneath its surface. Massive sections of what the Nexari had assumed were natural formations began to shift, revealing vast launching platforms. From the depths of the oceans, giant structures rose like ancient leviathans awakening from slumber. Admiral Chen stood in the heart of humanity's true command center, watching as Operation Checkmate began. Status report on the quantum virus. Complete saturation of their networks, Dr. Tanaka confirmed, her augmented eyes tracking multiple data streams simultaneously. Their quantum encryption is corrupted beyond recovery. They're operating on basic light-speed communications now. Launch the Prometheus swarm. From every continent, from every ocean, humanity's real military assets deployed. They weren't the crude weapons the Nexari had destroyed in their first strike. These were technologies that humanity had developed in secret, knowing that first contact with an advanced civilization might not be peaceful. The first wave appeared to be simple drones, millions of them, rising from hidden silos and underwater bases. The Nexari commanders initially laughed at such primitive weapons. Their advanced shields could handle projectiles and energy weapons alike. But these weren't ordinary drones. Each one carried a quantum entanglement core, allowing it to partially exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. When the Nexari ships fired their energy weapons, the drones simply weren't there to be hit, they phased between dimensional states faster than the Nexari targeting systems could track. "Impossible," Vexthor whispered as he watched his fleet's weapons pass harmlessly through the approaching swarm. Their technology was centuries behind ours. "No," his science officer corrected, fear evident in his harmonic voice. "That's what they wanted us to believe." The drones reached the Nexari fleet and began their work. Instead of conventional weapons, they carried quantum displacement fields. Ships began to disappear from formation, their atomic structures temporarily shifted into parallel dimensions. When they reappeared seconds later, their crystalline technology had been fundamentally altered at the quantum level. From her command center, Admiral Chen watched the chaos unfold in orbit. Begin Phase 2. Deploy the Lazarus platforms. The massive structures that had risen from Earth's oceans revealed their true purpose. They weren't weapons platforms, they were gravity manipulators on a scale the Nexari had never encountered. Concentrated gravitational fields began to form around the enemy fleet, not to crush them, but to trap them in a complex web of spatial distortions. You see, Chen transmitted to the increasingly panicked Nexury command, while you were watching our space programs, our orbital industries, our conventional militaries, you never thought to look deeper. You never asked why a species that survived on a death world, that endured countless near extinctions, would keep all their best technology in plain sight. The Nexury fleet, trapped in gravitational webs, watched helplessly as new human ships emerged from dimensional pockets around Earth. These weren't the crude vessels they had destroyed in their first strike. These ships seemed to bend reality around them, their hulls incorporating technologies that the Nexury had thought theoretically impossible. Your mistake, Chen continued, wasn't just attacking us. Your mistake was assuming that what you saw was all we had. Humanity learned long ago to keep our best advantages hidden. Every time we faced extinction, we came back stronger. Every crisis forced us to innovate in ways that broke the conventional rules of physics and engineering. The human counteroffensive moved with devastating precision. The quantum virus had already given them control of most Nexury systems. The gravity webs prevented any escape. And now, humanity's true military forces moved into position, ready to demonstrate just how far human innovation had really gone. In his trapped flagship, Vexthor watched with growing horror as his mighty fleet was systematically disabled by technologies he couldn't even understand. The humans weren't just fighting back, they were rewriting the rules of warfare itself. Send the surrender signal, he ordered, his scales now a pale white of defeat. Send it now, before they show us what else they've been hiding. But Admiral Chen wasn't interested in a quick surrender. The Nexury had chosen this war, and now they would serve as an object lesson for any other civilization that might consider humanity an easy target. The real demonstration was just beginning. The stars themselves seemed to flicker as humanity's quantum technologies reached full power, and the Nexury were about to learn why hunting a species that had turned survival into an art form was a fatal mistake. The art of asymmetric warfare. The Nexury High Council convened in an emergency session, their crystalline chamber filled with the discordant harmonies of panic. The holographic displays showed a cascade of defeats across their conquered territories. It wasn't just that they were losing, it was how they were losing. This defies all military logic, High Counselor Zextal declared, his scales shifting through patterns of confusion and fear. They're not following any known doctrine of warfare. Every time we adapt to one of their strategies, they completely change their approach. On Earth, Admiral Chen and her command staff were demonstrating exactly why humanity had survived every catastrophe their harsh world had thrown at them. They weren't fighting a conventional war, they were fighting thousands of different wars simultaneously. Launch the Hydra Protocol, Chen ordered, her augmented neural interface connecting directly with humanity's quantum battle network. Let's show them why adapting to human tactics is like trying to catch smoke with your hands. Across the galaxy, the Nexury's remaining fleets found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to change its very nature with each engagement. The humans had taken their quantum technology and turned warfare into a multidimensional chess game where the rules changed every move. In the Proxima Centauri system, a Nexury battle group encountered what appeared to be a conventional human fleet. But when they opened fire, their energy weapons passed through holographic projections while the real attack came from quantum-shifted ships that existed partially out of phase with normal spacetime. Near Alpha Centauri, another Nexury fleet found itself fighting against weapons that seemed to ignore the laws of physics. Human ships would disappear into micro-wormholes only to emerge behind enemy lines, their weapons guided by artificial intelligences that could predict Nexury responses before they happened. They're not just using advanced technology, Dr. Tanaka explained to the command staff, her augmented eyes tracking multiple battles simultaneously. We're using their own assumptions against them. They expect warfare to follow logical patterns, so we deliberately defy logic. The Hydra Protocol was the ultimate expression of human adaptability. For every Nexury counter-strategy, humans deployed 3 new approaches. When the Nexury developed shields against quantum weapons, humans switched to gravitational attacks. When they hardened their ships against gravitational weapons, humans introduced temporal distortion fields. But it wasn't just military technology that was causing the Nexary Empire to crumble. Human intelligence operations had been working on an even more devastating front. Psychological warfare update, Colonel Wei reported, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. The quantum virus we inserted into their networks isn't just disrupting their communications, it's revealing the truth about their empire to all their subjugated species. The Nexary had built their empire on careful information control, presenting themselves as benevolent overlords to the species they had conquered. Now, thanks to human cyber warfare, the truth was spreading through their quantum networks. Every atrocity, every betrayal, every lie was being exposed. The Kralothi in Sector 7 have declared independence, Wei continued. The Vex Collective is in open rebellion. 3 more species have requested human protection against Nexary retaliation. Admiral Chen allowed herself a grim smile. This was humanity's true strength, not just the ability to innovate, but to turn every situation to their advantage. The Nexary had thought they were fighting a simple military campaign. Instead, they had stumbled into a multidimensional chess game where humanity was playing for keeps. In desperation, the Nexary High Council authorized the use of their doomsday weapons, planet-killing devices that could render worlds uninhabitable. But even here, humanity had anticipated their moves. As the Nexary ships prepared to deploy their superweapons, they discovered that human quantum infiltration had already compromised their control systems. Their own planet killers turned against them, forcing the proud empire to watch helplessly as their military doctrine crumbled in the face of human ingenuity. Send another message to the High Council, Chen ordered, her voice carrying the weight of assured victory. Tell them that every moment they continue this war, will demonstrate another aspect of human warfare they haven't seen yet. And remind them, what they're seeing now is still us holding back. The message sent ripples of fear through the Nexary leadership. They had started this war believing they understood warfare, believing their technological superiority would guarantee victory. Instead, they had awakened a species that had turned survival into an art form, a civilization that had hidden its true capabilities precisely for moments like this. And as their empire began to crumble, as their subject species rose in rebellion, as their fleets were systematically dismantled by weapons they couldn't even understand, the Nexary finally began to grasp a fundamental truth: they hadn't just started a war, they had provided humanity with the perfect opportunity to demonstrate why challenging Earth was a mistake no species should make twice. Victory through innovation. The crystalline spires of the Nexary capital world, Nexus Prime, shimmered in the light of its 3 suns. Once a symbol of imperial might, they now stood as silent witnesses to the Empire's impending defeat. In the Grand Chamber of the High Council, the final battle of the war wasn't being fought with weapons, but with words. Supreme Commander Vexthor, his scales now permanently dulled to a defeated gray, faced the assembled council. We cannot continue. The humans, they're not just defeating us. They're redefining warfare itself. The human delegation sat across the chamber, led by Admiral Chen. Her neural augments were inactive, a courtesy gesture, but the quiet confidence in her posture spoke volumes. Earth didn't need to demonstrate its power anymore. The evidence was written across 1,000 star systems. The terms of surrender are simple, Chen stated, her voice carrying through the chamber's perfect acoustics. The Nexary Empire will be dissolved. All subjugated species will be granted independence. And Earth will oversee the establishment of a new galactic council, one based on cooperation rather than conquest. High Counselor Zextal's scales flickered with indignation. You would destroy everything we've built over centuries. No, Chen corrected. We're offering you the chance to build something better. Your empire was built on the assumption that technological superiority equals the right to rule. We've demonstrated why that assumption is flawed. The evidence was undeniable. Across the galaxy, human innovations had systematically dismantled every advantage the Nexary thought they possessed. But it wasn't just military victories that had brought them to this point. Through quantum-entangled communications, the proceedings were being broadcast to every world in the former empire. The liberated species watched as humanity offered not just defeat to their former oppressors, but a path to redemption. Your civilization has achievements worth preserving, Chen continued. Your crystalline technology, your quantum engineering, these are valuable contributions to galactic knowledge. But they must be shared, not hoarded. Used to elevate, not subjugate. Dr. Tanaka, standing beside Chen, activated a holographic display. It showed plans for a new type of quantum network, one that would connect all species in real time, fostering communication and understanding rather than control and domination. This is what humanity has been working toward, Tanaka explained. Not just victory in war, but the tools for lasting peace. Every innovation we developed, every breakthrough we achieved, was designed with dual purposes. The same quantum technology that had disabled Nexary warships could power instantaneous communication across the galaxy. The gravity manipulation systems that had trapped their fleets could form the basis of new transportation networks. Even the artificial intelligences that had outmaneuvered their military could be repurposed to solve complex scientific and social challenges. As the implications became clear, the mood in the chamber shifted. The Nexary counselors began to see what humanity was really offering, not just defeat, but transformation. You never intended to destroy us, Vexthor realized, his scales showing the first hints of their natural iridescence returning. Even when you had the power to do so, you were planning for what would come after. Humanity learned long ago that winning a war is easy, Chen replied. Building a lasting peace, that's the real challenge. Every species in this galaxy has something to contribute. Even those who started as enemies. The surrender documents were signed not with resignation, but with something approaching hope. The Nexary Empire ended not with a final battle, but with the first steps toward a new galactic civilization. In the days that followed, Earth became the center of an unprecedented technological and cultural exchange. The same quantum networks that had carried war now carried knowledge. Former enemies became research partners, working together to unlock the mysteries of the universe. Admiral Chen stood in Earth's new Galactic Council chamber, watching representatives from dozens of species, former Nexary subjects and allies alike, working together to build something unprecedented. Was this the plan all along? Colonel Wei asked, standing beside her. To use the war as a catalyst for unification. Chen smiled. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology, or even our ability to innovate. It's our ability to imagine better futures, and then make them reality. We didn't just win a war. We proved that the best victory isn't destroying your enemy, but transforming them into allies. Above them, through the quantum crystalline dome of the council chamber, the stars shone with new promise. Humanity had entered the galactic stage not just as warriors, but as architects of a new era. They had shown that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to build something better from the ashes of conflict. The war that began with an assumption of human weakness had ended by revealing humanity's greatest strength, the ability to turn any challenge, any conflict, into an opportunity for growth and progress. And in doing so, they had taught the galaxy a lesson that would echo through the ages: never underestimate a species that had turned survival itself into an art form.